sexy. Who gonna comfort me? My only problem is their insecurity. Time to be alone. Yeah, yeah. Yes. It's another podcast, man. We're back up in the building, man. We're back up in the building. We got to make sure that everybody can hear the podcast because Talk Up the Thing make this possible, man. And it's a great Saturday afternoon. The sun is out, man. I'm ready to go hit the beach or something, but I remember I'm not in Florida, so I can't just walk across the Bay Area and just jump in the water or anything like that. But he been rude to me if I introduce my guest, man. I got my guest in the building, man, and we got to make sure we introduce her. So I'm gonna pass it to you.
Hi everybody, my name is Dania, and what else you want me to say?
You say whatever you want to say. Don't act like you're a virgin of the talkaphone.
Okay, well, I'm a mom. I have some twins. They're 4. Recently divorced. Higher education professional.
All right, okay. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, now you're down in the DMV, right? And you're from Ohio, ain't it?
That's right.
Ohio. So, I mean, I met you and I was like, you said Ohio, and all I thought about was football. Because, when I think of Urban Myers and what he done for University of Florida, and now went up to the Ohio and gave him a couple of championships, you know what I'm saying? Like, so are you a football fan?
I haven't went to the Ohio State University.
Oh damn, man! My boy Eddie P would definitely see he like Ohio, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's like Nick Saban type of guy, because he's Alabama, type of dude, I always say to him that, man, listen, every time he always say something about Urban Myers, I'm like, yo, man, Florida is my team. He be like, man, you ain't know nobody from Florida. I know the whole team, man. But listen, we got to jump into this podcast because guess what happened? The most important thing about this podcast, we got to let people know what we're going to talk about today. And the most important thing is that we are trying to set boundaries, right? Setting boundaries is very important in our life, right? Because again, it let us identify who we are and what people around us, what we want to give to them and what space we want to give to them. So my first question to you is that, how do you set boundaries with people around you?
First, I think it's really important to set expectations.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is tell people how you want to be treated. And not just verbally say that, but actually show people when they cross your boundaries.
Okay, so have someone ever crossed your boundaries before?
All the time.
How do you deal with a situation like that?
I go back, have a conversation about what the expectation is. And sometimes, honestly, I just cut people off if I feel like whatever they did was egregious enough, and we don't need to be in a relationship with each other anymore.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk to you a little bit more because a lot of things you stated earlier. You said that you're a mother of twins.
Correct.
And you're a twin yourself.
Yes.
And you are married.
Yes.
Divorced. So now that you're divorced, you have to set boundaries in those type of situation. So how do you set boundaries in your life for your ex-husband?
For my ex-husband?
Are you guys still doing the crossy?
Oh, absolutely not. I would just say that, his house is his house and my house is my house. And so, although we're co-parenting, we have to respect each other's space, especially since this is a new experience. We've only been divorced for about a year now. And then his time with the children is his time and my time is my time. But I'm still respecting him as a father. If he feels like he wants to talk to the girls, then he can call, have conversation, FaceTime with them. I'll ask him, is this a good time to talk if he has them? So just like keeping respect at the forefront, just making sure that I go ahead and give him like the respect that I would want when it's not my time, because I like to be in community with my children whenever I want to, and I want him to have that as well.
Okay, so sometimes the situation, our bad situation happen when people find other partners, right?
Right.
And so have you ever dealt with a situation where he, dating someone else and, he let you know and now you know about the person? Like, how did that make you feel and how do those boundaries still stay in place?
I mean, I definitely think it's a difference when he's in a relationship with someone. I can immediately tell his conversation with me is much shorter than what it normally is. I can tell if I call and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" He'll be completely about business on those calls. Other times he's like, "What's up? What you doing? Where you went to?" Um, the one thing I have to realize is that life is gonna go on. We're not together, and one day I'll be in a relationship with someone, and right now he's in a relationship, and I need to respect that and to be able to show the respect for it to the girls so that they know that it's okay.
How long you been divorced?
Since May of 2020, 23.
So about a year and a half?
Yes. Well, a year and about 3 months.
Okay. Have you been in a relationship since?
I have not.
Okay, have you talked to anyone since?
Yes.
So like, how do you set boundaries for yourself?
For myself?
Knowing that you are talking to someone who need those type of, boundaries that you have to set to make sure that they are safe also.
Yes. So my main boundary is that no one can meet my children until I feel that the time is right. And so I'm very clear up front about the fact that I have children, that they are my number one priority, and that my time that I have for them is second to my time with my children at this particular point. Just because everything is so new and so fragile, I want to make sure that they're always at the forefront.
How do he feel about you dating and having your kids meeting other people?
So the thing is that we really never discussed that. For me, I feel like people should not meet our children, but for him, he has talked to several women and they have met them. I've had conversations with them, put a boundary in place that's for where I stated like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you just bringing them around anyone. Can you wait until someone is significant enough for you to want to be in a relationship? And then at that point, we can introduce them to the children. But I just don't want them just getting all kinds of values, morals from random people that he's interacting with that are not significant.
Okay, there's a big part of a relationship I want to talk about, and that's like, sharing location with partners and friends. So when you were married or in a relationship, did you share location? And what do you think about sharing location with your partner or with your friends?
So we have never shared a location before. Interesting. I feel like there has to be trust in a relationship, and I don't understand if it's like a safety thing. Say for example, I was out late, maybe I don't know for what reason, but maybe like leaving somebody's house at like 1 or something. And I'm like, hey, here's my location just so you know in case something happened. But that would probably be for like the extent of maybe like an hour or maybe like until the end of the day. But I don't think that people deserve like free reign just to know a person's location all of the time.
Okay, so for me, just to speak on that, like I'm one of those like I don't have a problem sharing my location because I felt like, once you become, my partner, my wife, like if something happened to me, now you are number one in lead for that. I share location, right now I share location with a lot of my friends. And sometimes my friends will be like, hey man, where you at? And it was like, just drop your location. I'm like, bro, you already have my location. Like you could just go look, where I'm at. And I'm like the same way. Sometimes I don't even know that I'm sharing location with my friends because I don't really check it. And I feel like that's what locations are for. It's not for you to like run to it every second, something just pop up, right? It's for emergency. Like, because if you live your life according to, you have to check the location every second, that means that you don't trust your partner.
Right, and I think that it like breeds, for a person that is insecure, not me, but I'm saying like that, it just gives them like more free reign in terms of like if your boundary is like if I'm not with you, then I have the autonomy to do whatever it is that I want to do. And this person's like, well, I saw, where were you at 3? I probably wouldn't share my location with them anymore at that particular point. Now, there are several friends that do have my location just because I'm dating and it might be a new person and I might call and be like, hey, you know, such and such, just to let you know I'm going to this place with this person. Can you just check in? Or I'll check in with you when I'm back. But if I don't, I'm gonna make you aware and then I might share my location with them. My little sister has my location, but I think that because the person that I was married to, he's a very autonomous person, there was no room for having his location. And I honestly think that I did not need his location because of what was going on with him, with other women and things like that. That would have emotionally,
I'm at Tasha House.
like emotionally and mentally would have
Brittany
been like awful for me because I probably would have showed up to one of them places at some
Damn.
point. So
Yeah, just think about you showing up with twins. One baby on this arm, one baby on that arm. You're knocking at the door with, you know, like, come out here.
And one of my new boundaries that I have is that if I feel like I have to inquire about where you are and I can't trust you, then there's no need for us to be together.
Okay, so my next question for you is that can someone boundaries be too harsh?
I don't think that boundaries can be too harsh because they're for what you need to keep you safe. I think that if a person is insecure, how can I say this? I think that like when we have put boundaries in place, like they cause people to have to self-reflect because they're like, shoot, do I need to check myself? Do I need to change something, right?
No, definitely. And for me, sometimes I feel like some people boundaries can be too harsh. It depends on how they look at things. Because if me and you are talking and you have a boundary that you create for yourself, but like, oh man, I just called him and he didn't and I could tell that he's on WhatsApp, but he's not replying to me, you know, or picking up the call. Now I'm about to block him, right? You know, like to me that's a red flag. You know, because you don't know if I'm on the phone with my mom or someone else. You know, my job is to be respectful to make sure I call you back. You know, and I mean, if you freak out just for that small things.
See, that's not a boundary. That's a person that is insecure, is what that is. And
True
I
that.
understand. A boundary for me might look like if I called you on Friday and said we're dating, right? And you don't call me back until Sunday, that might be a boundary for me because at that point I feel like you're being dismissive of me and the fact that I thought highly enough to reach out to you. Does that make sense?
No, that do make sense. So dealing with a situation like that, you call someone, right, on, let's say on Thursday, they don't call you back until Sunday. How that make you feel and how that make you look at the boundaries that you have for that person?
Okay, so this has been a thing with dating. I'll give you a scenario. So for me, if we decide that we're gonna start dating, I do like to be in conversation with the person daily, and I've been off the market for, like I said, like seven years. So this is a new experience for me now. But now with dating, people are like, oh yeah, we can just talk like every 3 to 5 days or once a week. And for me, that would not be a productive relationship. And so I've had people accuse me of being too serious up front. And so I want to get your thoughts on like, what is the amount of time? How is it important to, in the beginning, speak with the person about what is our the dynamics of our communication? Is that important to address when you're first?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And like I'm one of those type of people that like if we're dating, if I went out and I met you and you exchange numbers, like my job is that I want to talk about like what are you expecting, right? You know, from me, and I'm gonna tell you what I expect from you, because the things that about life is that we need to know that, because if we don't know those things, then people are looking at you weird.
Yes.
You know, and me as the type of person that, at this point in my life right now is that if I go the extra mile, because you have to understand that majority of the time is the man who's approaching a woman, right? You know what I'm saying? So if I approach you, I get your number, and now I'm taking you out. Now we are talking on the phone. You know, I want expectation because I'm evaluating you, because I have to get to know you, because there's things that I believe that a woman with quality, women who have things that, you know, meaningful to themselves is going to want from me also. You know, maybe a relationship soon, maybe kids, maybe marriage, you know. So again, it's my job to make sure that I look for those things. We talk about those things, because she ain't gonna drop to her knees for me. She ain't gonna ask me for a relationship. I'm the one gonna have to ask for those gonna have to ask her for those things. Hey, do you think that we should well, more likely a woman asks for a relationship. If a woman get too far, they'll be like, so okay, so what are we? So, okay, you wasting my time or what? Are we going to get into a relationship? But now marriage, now I think that when it comes to marriage, a man is going to drop to his knee and ask for, you know, will you marry me? Because in this point in my life right now, I look at a woman, I'm like, okay, all right, I see the quality in you. Because if a man don't see the quality into a woman, more likely, will he let her go? Maybe not. You know, maybe not. Because again, some man will just basically be like, okay, let's hang out. You know what I'm saying? But if a man see the quality in you, then what he's going to do is he's going to look at you and he's going to value you and give you what you deserve. But as a woman, you also have to make sure you present those things to that man and show him why you're different from the crowd today.
That's right.
So I do look at those things, and I do make sure that I evaluate those things, because as a man, I have to make sure, you know, that I'm building my kingdom, you know, because being a man, you become the leader of the house. A woman wants you to provide and protect, right?
Right.
Yes, that's my job. You know, as your job is to make sure that you support me, but also help me to be a better leader.
That's right.
You know, so my next question to you, we're going to talk a little on the work side, you know, and what type of boundaries do you have with your coworkers? And how do you separate the boundaries, making sure that it's not getting too far?
So I'm the type of person that in the beginning, I don't have any, I'm not leery. I guess I should say that. I'm not leery of people. I give people the benefit of the doubt, and everybody starts with 100%. And then when they take their mask off, then I make adjustments.
Have a coworker ever make you feel weird being around them?
Yes.
Damn. How do you deal with that?
I think that I'm a really good judge of character and if someone is being authentic or not. And so with those, you know, with that particular coworker, I'll just make sure that I'm just keeping it like very short. Like, hey, how you doing? How was your day? But like only on the surface. I can talk to you about what was on TV last night, but am I going to share any intimate details about my life? Most likely not.
But not every coworker think like you. So you got to understand, even though you have some male coworkers or maybe female coworkers who can make you feel awkward sometimes, like, damn, I already built a relationship with him. But let's say you deal with a male coworker who find you attractive, and then, you know, you talking to him on the phone, but y'all talking about TV that, you know, in his head, he'd be like, okay, we've been talking for maybe about a month now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think she liked me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. See, one of my good friend, Eddie P, he said to me that conversation to a woman is like sex to a man. He said women value conversation at a high level.
Yes.
Right? So, and I always evaluate that. Every time I talk to a woman on the phone or whatever, I'd be like, you know, like women be like, oh, you didn't call today. Oh my God, this conversation was so great. You know, and like I evaluate, I'm like, damn, he's right. You know what I'm saying? So like, that can lead a man on.
You said that you value the conversation?
It make me evaluate the conversation, to value the conversation to a person that if let's say I'm looking at you as a person that I'm gonna date. I want to make sure that I'm giving you that conversation every day. I want to make sure that I'm providing that.
Yes, and that's how I would know. Like, I try to gauge, or I try to check myself too. Like, okay, am I being unrealistic? If I hadn't heard from that person that day, I'm like, okay, let me give some grace. Maybe they'll say something tomorrow. But you know what? Like, one of the things for me is that I want to do what makes me happy. So if I feel like I want to text and reach out to that person, I will, because I don't believe in like the games. Life is too short for games. So if you want to say something to somebody, say something. But when I feel like it's not reciprocated, if I go back and look at the text messages that we're texting, and on my side, the text messages are a paragraph, and you even said about 5 words to everything that I said, I'm gonna stop the conversation, because what are we talking for? Because you don't seem genuinely interested, and I don't want to move forward. That's another one of my boundaries, is like only being in space and relationship with people who honor and value me, and who in an enthusiastic way seem that they want to be around and add value to my life. If you're not showing up like that, then I don't.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Okay. And so, and to me, that leads to the next question. So, do you ask yourself questions about your boundaries? And sometimes, me as a person, I'm big on that. Like, I'm big on just sitting back, looking at life, and be like, okay, what are my boundaries? Okay, why do I say I like this person? Or why do I want this car? Or why do I want this house? I just don't jump, pay, and purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I ask myself those questions. Even if someone said, Jerry, you know what? You was wrong today for what you did. You know what I'm saying? I go home, think about it.
Yeah, self-reflection is really important to me, and I feel like, I wouldn't be at this big age that I am now. I don't think that I would be in this space as far as like where I am with my boundaries, and healthy boundaries, if I wouldn't go back at the end of the night and say like, okay, let me walk through my day, think about this interaction that I had with this person, and how that could went, and what could I have done differently. Like how am I interacting with my children when they are starting to get on my nerves? Like what is it that I want to instill, the values that I want to instill in them, with like conflict and things like that, is really important to me. And I would hope that whoever I do end up in relationship with, as far as like a partner, would be doing those things. But what I have noticed, that because I'm an Aquarius and very inquisitive person, I ask people a lot of deep questions, and people deflect.
Oh.
They're like, wow, I haven't thought about that. I was chatting with a guy on Facebook dating the other day, and this is our first conversation. And I was asking him, one of the questions was like, how is he creative? And then like, how is that manifested in his life? How does that show up? And then he ended up saying to me like, do you mind if we move this to a phone conversation? Because I'm finding you really intriguing from your questions. You're asking me a lot of questions that I haven't thought about previously, and I really like that.
So did you guys move to a phone conversation?
We did move to a phone conversation. It lasted for like an hour. It was a really good conversation. So I'm thinking like, okay, well maybe we'll have another conversation again. But unfortunately we didn't, because he never followed up after that. So.
So now I need to pull the tape of that conversation and see how that went.
Yeah, the conversation was just about faith and finances, and he has children, just like everyday things that we both had in common. So. I don't see where the conversation went left, where we wouldn't have a follow-up conversation. And I waited, maybe like 2 days later, text, hey, how you doing? And he was like, I'm fine. And then I, said, oh, how are you? And he was like, I'm fine. So I find that I'm opening up the door for us to have additional conversation, but he didn't follow up. So it is what it is.
Hey, sometimes you just have to look at those and look at the red flags and be like, you know what? Let's keep that thing moving.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So how do you deal with boundaries when it comes to friends and your relationship?
Friends and my relationship.
Because you are married, you know what I'm saying? You still have friends, you a twin, you still have to deal with your sister.
That's right.
You still have to deal with your parents, you still have to deal with people around you.
Yeah, so I think that one of the things, after self-reflecting from, that experience of being married, is that I should have spent more time with friends, because I was so focused on trying to, be a new mother And for context, I got married like the day before the children were born. So all of the like being a mother and a wife was something that was very new. We were engaged about a year before that, but then I got pregnant, and then that was just the day that we ended up choosing. But I would say that a lot of the conversations that I would have to like keep my friendships intact would like happen outside of the house, maybe like early in the morning on the way to work or after work, or maybe if I was like cooking dinner, something like where I had like moments to myself, but I didn't spend like a lot of time nourishing those relationships. And now that marriage is over, I recognize that like at the end of the day, like you have to have foster, like keep growing those relationships with friends, because like relationships with significant others can end, and if you don't do that, then you might not have that support system to navigate what you're going to go through like once you get divorced.
Did you have friends that you know would channel in and say that, hey man, I know you're going through this, maybe you should do this, cut him off, you know, do this, do that? Like,
definitely, I had so many people tell me that, and I feel like at one point I was just like, I'm gonna stop talking to people about what's going on, because I just feel like I wasn't moving to like action at that point, and it's unfair to keep on giving people different scenarios about the crazy things that were happening. But at the same time too, I feel like God puts certain people in our life, and those people are there to help you endure and go through the journey to get to the other side.
No, definitely. You know, definitely, I value friends to a high level. You know, I mean, we get to pick and evaluate those people who we said are friends. You know, so like one friend that I have, Eddie P. You know what I'm saying? Like if I say something on social media that's bad or crazy, or I'm going off top, whatever it may be, he's gonna pick up the phone. Yo, Dre, damn, you said that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I have to open up the space for that, to have that conversation, because I value him.
Yes.
Right. Not saying that, you know, if it's a relationship type of issue, that I'm gonna make Eddie come in and say, okay, you're gonna make the decision of how I move. But I value his conversation, because again, I know it's not like he was just my friend today.
Yeah.
You know, I know he wanted the best for me. So I make sure that I listen, but my final decision is I'm gonna evaluate that and make sure that I'm making the best decision for my family.
Yes, so I have a really good friend, Jasmine. Shout out to Jasmine. She has been instrumental in my growth as a person. Just the like leading up to getting a divorce, and to, you know, the growth that I've experienced afterwards. And I just think that iron sharpens iron. And she will tell me about myself, like, Damia, you know, like, is that really worth? She, you know, like when I was pregnant, for example, like, and I was stressed out in the marriage, she would be like, you know that today you're making 20 toes, 20 toes and 20 fingers. Like, if you have energy, like, you need to be focused on that. Like, this stuff, does that really matter? Is that going to matter tomorrow or in 5 years or 10 years? So she would just, you know, really check me on those things. And then most recently with her boundaries, I love watching her boundaries. Her boundaries are beautiful. So like, I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I was having just a rough day. And I called her and I was like, Jasmine, she lives like 5 minutes from my girl's school. So I'm like, Jasmine, what you doing? I wanted to like impromptu stop by. And she was like, I said, can I come over? And she has a daughter that's the same age as my girl, so they play. So she was like, well, I'll just lay down. And you know what? I was like, you know what? You don't even have to answer, because what I realized that in terms of like, if you have to keep thinking about something, it's a no. Like, flat out. Like, don't do stuff for other people, because if you're not in the space. Because she's also taught me a lot about people can only give what they have to give. And we can't get mad if people don't have it. So, you know, like, if on that, I'm gracious if somebody can offer me some words of wisdom or some affirmations and speak that into my life. I'm grateful for that in that moment. But if they can't have the capacity to do it later, then I'm not upset about that.
Okay, no, definitely.
So she really helped me.
You gotta accept people for their boundaries.
And you know, what I wanted to go on and finish my story about her saying, like, you know, Damia, I just woke up. So I'm like, okay. So then she calls me maybe like an hour later. I'm at my house, and she was like, so do you want me and my kids to stop by? But I needed to clean up before she came over my house. So I was like, yeah, but let me clean up some. And she was like, wait, so it sounds like maybe we should meet out. Would that work better for you? And she was like, how about we just go out and buy us all some ice cream. We can meet at the Avenue and get some ice cream. And I was like, thank you. I really appreciate that. And she was like, I didn't want you to think it was a no. Just in that moment, I had just woke up. I didn't have time to think. And I still wanted to figure out a way I could show up for you and still be there to support you. And so she's really helped me work on, like, my no is my no. My no does not need any other explanation. No is a sentence because I'm a recovering people pleaser. And just like the tenacity that she has to speak her mind all the time, like I value that, and I'm like, I need that in my life. And so when I think about friendships and who is going to go on, with my journey, because of course some people will fall off and some more people will fall in place. Like, I'm looking for other people that exemplify those characteristics that she has.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that I love that, because that speaks so much, right? And what it speaks to me is that even though she said no, she didn't forget about the friendship that you guys have and just leave you hanging. She made sure that she doubled back and, open up another avenue, because, again, she didn't know what you were dealing with, but also knowing that you didn't know what she got going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But open up the space knowing that, you got something going on when she reached out, but how can we meet at somewhere we don't have to have nothing that's going on there, but we can just, express, have our kids play while you open up to me, while I open up to you. Those things are very big.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I learned in terms of like friend boundaries too, we cannot just dump on people. It's so important to check in. Hey, how you doing? First, before you just give people all of your stuff. Because sometimes people are fragile, and they might not be able to have the capacity to show up for you. I know that with my twin sister, she is notorious for just starting off, well, this happened. I'm like, wait, hold on. And I had to tell her a couple times, I'm so sorry. I have my own stuff that I'm working through. I cannot be here to support you in this moment, but I can offer a couple people. Have you, called our little sister? Can you call mom? Can you call your other best friend? Because I want to show up for you, but it might not be me. And something that's been really hard for her is to recognize that, like, God is still providing, even if it's not because a lot of times we're like, well, I want it to be you, right? Like, and as long as like somebody is standing in the gap, like, we have to be gracious for that.
No, definitely. So, like, how are you with, respecting your friends' boundaries? Because, I think that you speak a lot about that. And, I think that sometimes we can be selfish, and we don't recognize that people have issue going on when we are facing the same, So I think that we have to understand that even though they might be our best friends, they are someone that we count on, we have to understand they're humans too. And they have a relationship going on, they have a family going on, they have things that they go through with work. So how do you feel like you can respect people's boundaries?
So again, checking in before I give them my stuff, or like my best friend Andre, he's married for like 2 years now.
Andre?
Yes.
Oh.
And so he, are you surprised that it's a male? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just say no because he got my name.
Okay.
He got my name. Yeah. My name.
Yeah, Andres are wonderful people over there.
Yeah, hey, yeah, I hear that? You know Andre? Hey.
But, we had to pivot some in our relationship, just because I want to respect his wife. I want her to feel comfortable that me and him are just friends. She's been to my house. I've been able to go to her house. Andre is my daughter's godfather. And so a lot of times he will talk to me when he's on his way to somewhere, or if Ashley is at a meeting or at work or something like that. But I try my best to make sure that I'm respecting his marriage.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. So what do you have for my audience today who are facing boundaries, issues, and don't know how to acknowledge those things or want to learn how to set boundaries, what do you have for my audience?
I think the first thing is to become self-aware and to recognize that boundaries are in place to keep us safe. You know how like you driving on the highway and you see those guardrails? Those guardrails are there for a reason in case of an accident, that nobody is falling down a hill, falling in some water and things like that. And we have to think about the fact that peace comes with boundaries. And boundaries do get uncomfortable, and especially when somebody steps on our boundaries. And just recognizing that you might have to have some hard conversations to keep those boundaries in place with people, or leave people behind if they don't want to respect them. And that's okay. There's going to be other people that are going to show up in your life, other people that are going to love you more beyond the capacity of what you could even imagine, like if you have those boundaries or expectations in place for yourself.
No, definitely, Miss Pope. That's some true words, and I respect those. Because again, like the truth about life is that some people are put in your life for a reason. Like I always say this. Like I went to high school and I met a lot of people in my journey from Jamaica to high school to college, and like if you take a look at my circle, like there's nobody in my circle today from Jamaica. There's nobody in my circle. One person in my circle from high school, but I met a lot of my friends in college, and we looked at each other, we hold each other dearly, and we make sure that we are following a step. If I F up, one of my boys gonna call me.
That's right.
Are we gonna do a video call and be like, yo, Dre, that was wrong? So man, if you guys listen to this podcast, man, just keep on following Talk Up the Thing. We out here and we doing it.